Hey everybody, it's Drew. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to get going on this Tamiya 148 scale Tiger 1 early production tank. And I did do an inbox review of this kit a while back, so I will put a link to that video in the description if you want to go back and take a look at that and see what all comes in the box and see what the sprues look like. First thing I'm going to do here is you put weight in the bottom, in the lower hull, and most of these 148 scale armor kits that Tamiya produces either give you some little steel rods or they'll give you a metal hull. It just kind of makes it feel a little bit heavy, you know, not so much toy-like. And so these are the brackets that I'm putting in the bottom here. There are 4 little steel rods, and they're held in place by brackets. And so I'm going to put the brackets that go on the end, I'm going to put those in first, and because you'll see how it goes in just a second. But if you put them all in, you won't be able to get the steel rods in. So it makes sense just to put the glue in the ones that go on the end, at the ends of the hull, and then you'll see in just a second where how I attach the little rods. And okay, the next step in the instructions is to assemble the idler wheels and the sprockets. And Tamiya gives you poly caps for these. So when you put them onto the lower hull, onto the axle, they will spin so you can get the tracks on. So I'm going to do these and get these, just set these aside. I'm not going to do all the wheels and stuff right now. I'm going to paint everything at once and then start gluing on the wheels once I get everything painted. So, but I am going to do this part, and we'll move on from here. So I got the sprockets and other wheels done, so I'm just going to start working on the upper hull. And I am skipping some steps. I'm not going to worry about the wheels and the tracks at this point. I want to do the major assembly. So this front plate, you have to drill out a couple little holes because there is a locator pin on the front of the upper hull there. And I'm just going to use some Tamiya extra thin, just put some into the locator pins on the other side. I'm about out of my extra thin bottle here. I want to use every last drop, so I got to shake it every time. I want to get some glue on the brush, but price of glue nowadays, I want to use every bit of it. Okay, now it's time to put the sponsons on. Those are the side and underside panels that go on the side of the tank and also underneath, and they just basically sits on top of the treads, and everything is fitting like a glove. I mean, what can you expect from a Tamiya kit? So really nice. Just do a little bit of cleanup where I cut the part off of the sprue and get it ready for gluing. Always test fit. Make sure you got it in the right spot. See how it's going to go. But again, this fits perfect. Just want to make sure that it's you know where it's going to go before you put all the glue on. And we're going to put the rear plate of the lower or upper hull on, and on that's going to be attached the air cleaners, some exhaust pipes, some tools, a jack, things like that. So we'll get that on there, and again, it's a great fit. So I'm going to set that aside and let it dry a little bit, and I'm going to start working on the gun assembly. And there are poly caps for this as well, because you can elevate the gun up and down. And so just checking the fit here. Make sure you don't glue the poly caps. You don't need to. And just get your parts together here. And I'm going to attach the mantlet on, and then use a little Tamiya extra thin to make sure it stays secure. And that's all it is. And so it's a pretty nice assembly again. Can't complain. So you just want to use a little bit of Tamiya extra thin, let it run that in there. And if there's any flaw of the kit I've found so far, it's the two-piece gun barrel, which, you know, it's two pieces, so you're going to have a seam line. In this case, I do have a little bit of a step. As you'll see a little while later, I used a little putty and sanded off. It didn't take too long, but if you have any metal gun barrels for this kit, that'd be great. So yeah, that's modeling. Just clean up the seam line and get it all together. So I'm going to start working on the turret here, and there's two pieces, and the gun assembly locks in place through a couple pins here that are on this, and you know, the pins slide into the poly caps that allow you to elevate the gun. So I'm just checking the fit here, seeing how it goes together. I don't realize it now, but I will in a little while, that I'm actually putting this in upside down. And so I will correct that later, but I didn't realize it at the time. So yeah, you can see this just literally slides in, and on both sides there's a nice locator pin. It slides into the poly caps, and there we go. I'll get that in there like that, and then the pieces just attach together really easy. Don't really have any issues with it. So here I'm just attaching some hatches. I'm not going to open them up because there's nothing to see, and there's no crew figure in this kit. And I'm going to also put together the parts for the cupola. And again, I'm not going to have the hatch open on top of that either. There are some fiddly pieces here, so just be careful. It's a great kit. These 148 scale tanks are really nice, but they do have some fiddly parts. So just be careful what you're doing. But everything, again, just even for the tiny fiddly parts, they have locator pins or places where they latch onto that. It's like it is truly shake and bake. So we'll put all these pieces together and move on to the next part. So I think it was at this point where I realized I had put the gun assembly in upside down, and so I was able. It hadn't been very long, so I was able to basically just pull everything apart and just reverse it. So no harm, no foul. Just make sure you're looking at your instructions and making sure things are lined up the way they're supposed to be. I didn't show that part on camera, but I'm just going to run a little bit of this thick liquid cement around the place where this top plate goes on top of the turret, and it just sits in there snugly. And once I got that in place, I'm going to add some of the more little hatches on the sides and the cupola on top, and move on to the next part. So I mentioned earlier that the gun barrel had a pretty bad step in it. It just wasn't quite flush, and so I added some putty, and here it's Tamiya white putty, so I just sanded it down and checking with my fingernail, and it's smooth. So no more seam line, no more step on that. And again, so far anyway, this is the only flaw I can find in the kit, is this two-piece barrel. So I'm going to glue the gun barrel in, and you kind of see it has like a little fork, which goes down there. once I got those on those little, I think they're fenders or something, I assembled the air cleaners. There's two of them, and each one comes in two pieces, so you just glue those together. And make sure you're watching your instructions because they go on a certain way. One's for the right, one's for the left, so which way the pipe is facing. And just glue them on. I did have to sand the seam line on the top, so that didn't take but a couple seconds. So I'm just attaching these here, and in just a second we'll get the, I guess this is an exhaust pipe. I wish I knew more about these tanks. I probably should get a reference picture to kind of tell me how the parts, what they are. And this is looks like a big exhaust pipe, and it attaches to those, attaches the air cleaner. And there are little male-female parts here, the little prongs, like, the air cleaner part. Okay, you want fiddly, you got it. These are the headlights. And in order to hold them, I used some sticky tack, poster tack stuff here to hold the main part, and then you put the lens piece, which is not clear, but I did try using extra thin cement, but it just wasn't enough to hold it for me. So I used just a kind of a glob of liquid cement. When I put those pieces on, it grabs onto it, and I can position the lenses the way they're supposed to go. And then I'm just putting them in the slots here. And I use sticky tack a lot when I'm working with these really tiny little parts. So, there we go. And got to be careful with those because I knocked them off a couple times before they were dry, so it didn't break. But here I'm going to attach some tools. This is a shovel. Most of the tools on this tank are molded on, but they do give you about 3 or 4 that aren't. So this is a shovel that goes on the front part. There's also going to be, I put it's like a pry bar that I'm going to stick on here in a second, and a sledgehammer. So I'll get these on. I'll just paint them on the kit. That way I can, I don't have little loose parts running around. So just take your time and you can paint it. So this is a pry bar that I talked about. Goes right here, slots right in, nice and snug. And then we got a little sledgehammer. I'll get that in there, and we'll be done with little tools. Well, there is a jack that goes on the back. I forgot about that. A jack and a little crowbar thing that goes with it. So here I'm just adding the side skirts. Again, there's locator pins. They just go on there pretty snugly. I use a drop of liquid cement on where the little locator holes are, get it in place, and I'm going to run some extra thin down the sides of it, so because it does sit flush up against the hull. So again, great fit, and we'll do a quick review here in a second. Okay, fellas, so here's where I'm at. So I went ahead and we built the lower hull, adding the weights. I went ahead and did these drive sprockets here, and the idler wheels. Those are easy. I have not done all of these wheels and the tracks, of course. I'm going to paint those separate, and then once I get them painted, I'm going to paint everything. Well, I'm going to paint everything and then start assembling the wheels and the tracks. So I've left those unmarked, and we finished up the upper hull assembly and sponsons, and we got added all the hatches, okay, the exhaust, so jack, got all that on there, and the air cleaners, okay, got all those installed. I added a couple tools. I'm also going to paint the toe chains separately, paint them with some steel color, and then just be easy to put those on. That's what I'm going to do with that. And we finished the turret assembly. We got the mantlet and the gun barrel and the smoke dischargers and the cupola. Got all that on there, and so this is kind of what it looks like. So, all right, you can see the barrel elevates. Here are the smoke canisters. You got to be careful not to knock those off. And this is going to sit just like this. It's a perfect fit. I mean, you can't beat that. Okay. And then put the turret on. There we go. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to get it all primed and painted, including all the wheels and the tracks. I'm just going to paint everything on the sprue, and then start assembling those, attach the tracks. Yeah, that'll be the next video. So again, everybody, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed my channel, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my videos. And I will see you in the next video. In the meantime, take a look at some of the videos that are popping up on your screen. And take care, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.